Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Vaughn with CCM Magazine, and we're here today to talk to Sandra McCracken about her brand new album, Patient Kingdom, and some fun and exciting things she has coming up for 2021. Hi, Sandra. How are you?
Hey Jamie, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for making time.
Absolutely. We're really excited to talk to you. How's your year been?
Well, it's been the year of improvisation. There are so many good gifts in this year, even though it's been kind of a wild ride. How about you? Has this
Uh,
been like a big disruption?
a big disruption, but seeing God's hand move through all of it has been pretty amazing. I know that so many people are hurting, so many people are mourning, but in all of that, been able to see God's hand move through so many people's lives. And it's been a great
Yeah,
blessing in that. And I hope that that's what has happened
for
for you
sure.
as well.
Yeah.
Sandra, how have you filled your year as an artist?
This year, I've been able to do more writing, both writing long distance with people and actually writing a book that is coming out later in 2021. So that's been a gift, and also just time with the family and paying more attention to those rhythms at home. There have been some surprising things about not traveling as much that trying to make the most of those.
Oh, wow. So you put out actually two albums this year, a Christmas album and a praise and worship album, and both are so good. And I love
Oh,
Christmas music. I listen to it all year. I've been listening to the Christmas album all morning, but we're here to talk about the praise and worship album, Patient Kingdom. And I love this album. It had such a beautiful, heartfelt, earthy sound to it to me. It was like an American
mm,
hymns, just kind of pouring
mhm,
out of what we've all gone through. I'd love to hear your writing um,
mm.
process and inspiration for the album.
Um, this album came out at a time that, a lot of it was not planned. So maybe 3 years ago, I started gathering songs that would be songs to push back against anxiety and fear. And just some of the conversations I had with people both at shows and traveling around and in my own community here in Nashville. And I just thought, man, we could use songs of comfort. So fast forward to the time when we're scheduled to record, and it was right in the middle of the shutdown in the spring of 2020. And so during that pivot, we really just kind of had to change some plans about how we recorded the album, but it just gave some real meaning to the work we were doing, that these songs were coming out at just the right time.
I've talked to so many artists over the past year who that's exactly what they said. A year or two before the pandemic, we were
Yeah.
putting together this album and writing this album. Little did we know every song would have a meaning for the year that we have just gone through. So
Mm,
I love to see God's providence in all of that. Where do
mm.
you get the name Patient Kingdom from?
It really was a song title that had was one of those songs that had been written a few years before, sitting on a porch in Vermont. And the song initially was one that was a reflection on, just thinking about how creation teaches us and invites us into God's rhythms, both the seasons and just the way that we see God's fingerprints in all of it. So, Scripture speaks to us, also His creation speaks to us, and that's where it started. And then, as it became kind of the theme song this year, it was like we need patience more than ever, and and I think it helps to slow me down, even just having to sing that song.
Yeah. Oh, it was my favorite song on the whole album. And I loved
Oh,
all of them,
great.
but that was my favorite one. When somebody sits down to listen to the album, start to finish, what do you want them to take away from it?
Um, I noticed after the fact that if you look at the song titles, they kind of follow almost like a sermon illustration with, beginning with praise and a call to worship, and then leading through questions like laying down our worry and confessing that, and then the very last song being the stillness of God, in the old hymn, "Be Still My Soul." And I think my hope would be at the end of it, you feel like you have been brought into a place of peace, and that it can not just like a false peace, but a peace that really does the work of praying through those things that we are concerned about and letting them be authentic and real, and also that we don't get stuck in them, but that we keep moving past that, and that God gives us peace.
Yeah, yeah. I felt that through the album. I really did. And I'm not just saying that. I did feel that peace at the end. It just was kind of like a great breath there that you
I'm so glad.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, fun question, and it can be
Okay.
any genre. What is your favorite song or lyric that you've ever written?
Oh, that my mind always kind of goes like slows down when I hear that because I think no, I don't know where to. I think that it's a lot of the songs are really derivative of scripture, so they come up for me at different times, and there'll be these reminders of even the songs that aren't overtly, church songs.
Right.
They have scripture sort of soaked in them, and so I would say there's an old song called Now and Then that is reminds me of Psalm 139,
Mhm.
and I love that psalm about how God hems us in, and that He it's both like a kind of a lullaby of sorts, but it's also one that just reminds me of that psalm and how well He knows us and cares for us.
Okay, so turn it around. What song or lyric do you wish you had have written that someone else did?
Mm. Um, Do you remember that there's an old song called If These Walls Could Speak? This is
Mhm.
like such a, but it was
Yeah.
on an Amy Grant record many years ago. And I think that song does such a beautiful job of like personifying like a house and walls and a place, but it also is such a doorway to reflect on the meaning of our lives and kind of those like how story can invite us into that in such a beautiful way. So I love that song. Wish that would it would have been one I would have written.
Yeah. Well, as we wrap up this interview, is there a message of hope that you would like to leave for our viewers?
Um, Lately, I've been thinking about how hope is an active part of who we are as people of faith. And when we say we hope for something that is something we cannot yet see with our eyes, there is part of that that just takes participation, And so when I think about hope, I think about a posture of confidence, like shoulders back. And even when you feel uncertain or like you're not sure what's coming right around the corner, that there is this confidence that we know when we put our shoulders back and lift our face to our Father who continues to provide for us, that He's our one true provider through all the changes of circumstance. So hope is really resting in Him, and hope is looking to Him and lifting our eyes and our hearts and even our posture to say yes to His promises.
Oh, I love that. Sandra, thank you so much for stopping by. And I know you have a super busy schedule with the kids being at home, but thank you for taking time out and talking to us. And everyone, please make sure you take the time and go listen to her new album, Patient Kingdom. Thanks, Sandra.
Thank, Thanks so much, Jamie. Thanks for making time as well. I'm glad to be here with you all today.
Good. Thank you.